Broadcasting from Ireland, featuring interviews with some of the biggest names in magic. Welcome to the Deceive Reality Podcast with your hosts, David Peace and Steve Spade.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. My name is David Peace. Steve Spade isn't here this week, unfortunately, but we are here joined by Tyler Lunsford. Tyler, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here.
No problem. It's great to have you here on the podcast. Just talk about magic, tell stories, make up stuff. We'll just see how it goes from there. Yeah, so we kind of start with something, the basic. How did the magic bug kind of like get into you to begin with? Where did this whole crazy shit start?
Well, my grandpa. No, I'm joking. That's like everyone's story. No, mine was actually my parents. Actually had a magician come to my birthday party when I was like 4, and they handed out. Basically, my parents made these like little goodie bags, like these treat bags that you hand out. You got like party favors and stuff in them. And what was inside of those bags was these like dollar store like magic tricks. And so everybody got like a different magic trick and all that kind of thing. And I just started learning those like little dollar store magic tricks as like little knickknacks, like the little like simple one where you got like a little coin and you push the thing in, it comes back out and there's no coin or whatnot. Just stuff like that. Basic like gimmick decks, like like the dollar store Svengali deck or something like that. And I just couldn't stop after that. I just started learning more magic, wanted to go to magic stores. The magician that was performing there actually made me cry. So that was really, really, that was just, it made a lasting impact on me. And that's why I wanted to do magic, because I wanted to make other people cry. So,
yeah. And cry in a good way, because there's plenty of ways to make people cry.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he made me cry in a bad way because I got terrified. He said he was going to like make me disappear. And then all my friends, were all kids and they're like, yeah, make him disappear. And I was like, no. And I literally just tears on stage and like had to get off. Like, it was terrible. It was awful.
Yeah, people try to do that. Start doing that on like TikTok and stuff with kids after Justin Willman did it on TV.
Yeah,
people are just like, don't do that to kids. They don't.
I know. And like, there's some kids that have like flipped out over it too. Like, yeah, actually,
it's like terrifying. It's like you're invisible now. Your life's over. Nobody can find
you. Yeah, everything's fine. You're gone. Yeah, it's all good. But I think the Justin Willman thing. I love that show, Magic for Humans, and I love that segment, the where they like make someone invisible. I have never laughed so hard at a magic show until that segment. That might be my favorite thing I've ever seen on Magic for Humans, like the most entertaining bit of it.
Yeah, because I love the whole thing of like it's so similar to like the thinking of like Over the Head or something like that, where it's like everybody's in on the trick except the one person on stage, and you get the best magical moments sometimes by going that way. It's like sacrifice everybody else. And
yeah,
just
I know,
for
right?
This one person.
And ultimately, sometimes it kind of it pays off, and it's like sucks for that person, but it also kind of goes into like the whole dual reality thing. Like if you're because there's ways to do it where you don't have to basically out the person, like put them on the outside. There's ways to make people experience it by separating them from a crowd, and they get a totally different magic trick than the people that actually saw the magic trick. And that's what I really like about it too, is that you can just go so many different ways with it.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it as like because I remember watching it and being like how quickly the people bought into that they were invisible as well. It's insane.
Oh yeah, if I was in that situation, like I like to think that I would not, believe I was invisible. But in the moment, I guess what are you gonna do? Like what? I don't know. I like to think myself that I would like be a little bit maybe more here and be like, no, I'm gonna ask more questions, figure out some stuff, and then no, I probably would just end up just like the girl.
It's a bit like the peer pressure experiments they did where they got something similar to that into a classroom, but it was all adults and everybody else was actors who were told to say like an easy maths equation, give the wrong answer, and they all gave the same one and see if the person would like correct themselves to the wrong answer. And they did, like, so.
Yeah, it's crazy how the brain works. It really is.
Yeah, it really messes with people. So then when you started with doing the magic stuff, and then you obviously started doing YouTube videos and reviewing magic and stuff, what gave you the inspiration to start that? For us, it was like pandemic.
Yeah, well, mine was, let's see, mine was about 5 years. I think I'm going into year 5 on YouTube, like actually like posting YouTube content. I did YouTube a little bit when I was younger, and then I didn't actually start posting like reviews and start posting content more regularly until I think this is probably year 5. But what the issue was I was buying so much magic. I was buying so many magic tricks where it was like, why am I spending all this money? You know, I'm a college student. I was a high school student, like right before college, and I was sitting here wasting all my. I say wasting. I mean, you know, we're magicians. It's not
Yeah.
wasting, but you know, I'm spending literally all my money on magic tricks, and any other money that I had that was like to go do fun things with my friends, I like spent most of it on magic. And I was like, okay, something has to change because I mean, I gigged probably like, I probably gigged like a handful of times a year, less than 10.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I'm like professionally, so if I'm going to be buying all this magic and spending all this money, I got to get something else out of it. I need to like justify to myself why I can keep buying all this magic and spending all this money. So I decided that I was going to start a YouTube channel and start posting magic tricks to review. And that is how the YouTube channel started because I wanted to basically find a way to justify all the money that I was spending and say, hey, it's okay that you spent, you know, a few $1,000s this year on magic tricks because you made a video about it, or at least you bought it and had the intention to make a video about it. And then you never got around to it for 6 months. And then you made the video about it, like after the trick wasn't relevant anymore. So
Yeah.
that's
Been
also
there.
happened. I guess in the magic world, it's probably like 3 weeks until the trick isn't relevant, but I mean, you get the basic idea. And yeah, that's why I started the YouTube channel. I just needed somewhere to, I basically was like, hey, spend way too much money. Need to start doing something else with it. I also have always loved video content and just like producing content, coming up with ideas, like being like a producer, I guess, in a way.
Mhm.
And I've also have like I have a videography background and video editing and all that good stuff. And I also was kind of tired of getting burned by different magic
Shit.
tricks. And so I was like, well, maybe I can at least help someone avoid getting burned and I can justify my spending in the process. So it kind of just lend itself hand in hand. And that's how I started doing magic trick reviews. And then now I've kind of expanded into doing like magic content that's just, you know, really related to magic. And I still do some reviews, but I do like topic videos of things like I'll talk about my opinions on different things in the magic world. I do like a magician news show. I do obviously the reviews, but then I do things like top 10. So it's just a whole different, uh, it's kind of like a hub for magician entertainment and informative content. And that's kind of how it's kind of hard to define it. But if I had to say what I do, that's probably what I do, what I post.
Yeah, because we started this channel just doing the podcast during the pandemic because a lot of really famous magicians weren't doing anything, so they all started saying yes when we asked. We're like, cool,
Oh,
that's
for sure.
great.
Yeah. 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 I know. I think it was Craig Petty I was talking to that he was getting a lot of big names on his Talk Magic because he started his channel alone, started like diving into it more during the pandemic. And all these performers were like, oh, yeah, no, like, I mean, I'm just sitting at home, got a virtual show at 8 p.m., but anytime before then, let me know. And it's
Yeah,
like, that's how a lot of people are actually able to get interviewed by on a lot of these things. So I think that the pandemic, as much as it had some drawbacks and kind of sucked, there were definitely some positives that came out of it. I mean, this podcast and the people that you were able to get on it. If you started this like maybe 2 years later or 3 years later, like
yeah.
now, who knows who you would have on here because everybody's busy all over the place touring. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And then it was a similar thing. Once I had the channel, I was like, I am spending way too much money on magic, so I might as well start reviewing some of
Yeah,
it
yeah,
because
you might as well start
otherwise
doing something.
I can't perform everything all the time. So I might as well at least
Yeah.
discuss stuff and see what's there. Because yeah, like my office is just it's meant to be me and my wife's office, but it's like full of magic stuff at this stage. She's
And
like,
it
you need
just
more
became your
storage.
office. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I totally
it's too
relate. I
much.
mean, yeah, the girlfriend tells me that, hey, what if you kind of organized your magic a little bit, maybe put it in a certain spot, you kind of went through it, see what you wanted to use, and I'm like, no, I want all of it. I want to keep all of it. And I don't know how to justify to anyone. And honestly, there's no way to justify it that I should have this much magic and that I should be keeping this much magic and I should be spending this much money on magic. There's no way to justify any of it at all. So I just try my best, but ultimately, I think it's probably going to end up with the magic getting put in the closet, and then you got to like clear a little corner for the desk and all that stuff. I mean, even like right now, I have 2 boxes of magic tricks sitting next to me that I have from Blackpool, Magi Fest, and I still got to go through them and like talk about the things I bought, and I'm just staring at them, and
Yeah.
it's fun to look at too, because now that Magic has a little bit better packaging, people are not just putting out like maybe a little Ziploc bag with a piece of card inside of it. Like a lot of companies are really upping their packaging game, and for someone who likes to look at their Magic, as weird as it sounds, for someone who likes to look at their Magic, I like the nice packaging. Okay, so
The
fine,
packaging
sue
really
me.
has stepped up. Like I was just looking at stuff recently, like the shrapnel by Tim Anderson's
Yes,
packaging is unreal. The 1914
so
stuff is
good.
always good.
Yep,
It seemed like I got
yep.
speaking of Blackpool, got a load of their billets at Blackpool, and it's just like
Oh, nice.
it's
Yeah,
just simple
I
little
saw
packaging.
someone else I was hanging out with bought some billets from them, and they were talking about how much they love them. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm glad that it's stepping up. I even have what do I have right here? I have laced up right here, and I mean this packaging, even this is just like really cool.
Yeah,
You got like your little like magnetic like closing lid. Love that little hard shell case. Penguin stepped up their game. Abstract Effects, cheap plug, has stepped up their game.
yeah.
I mean, it's great. I love good packaging, and it
You-
really upsets me when people are like, I don't want to pay the extra money for packaging. I'm like, you're probably already going to pay that price for the most part. Just at least get something out of it, because they're probably not going to change the price unless the packaging is like. I mean, some of the Murphy stuff with like their color match, when you take the lid off and it's like lights and sounds.
yes, man.
Maybe that's a little excessive, but I mean, hey, even then, you're buying an expensive product. You might as well have a nice little product case for it.
Yeah, like this one plays
Yes,
music when you open it.
yes.
It's
Can you take
crazy.
off the lid right now? Do you have it on?
I think it died because I did it too many times. But like you can
Oh,
see the sort of I won't show
yeah.
that 'cause that's the password.
Freeze
But
frame.
like yeah, you can't actually press it. But yeah, there's mad stuff in it. And it's
Yeah, with their more expensive products, I think they've definitely like reached
like
on the packaging. Yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
drawer.
There's a drawer. See, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's like inside the main box you get the dice and the thumper and stuff, and then in the drawer you get the strap and the charging cable.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Okay, now is it bad that I just like want to buy that for the packaging? I think it would just look cool. Like I'm working on like so this is like kind of like a new set. Like I was in front of a bookshelf for like a couple years filming Magic, and now I'm trying to figure out how do I display my Magic in this new environment that I'm in, and I can't figure it out because I don't know if I want to display like everything I've reviewed or if I just want to display like the things that actually have like really cool like product packaging. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But right now, it's just these uncut sheets hanging around. And I got some books over here too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love me some good packaging. So as long as it's not increasing the price by like a crazy amount, and it was probably already going to be that much to begin with, throw me in some nice packaging. I mean, a lot of us are probably collectors, or at least we're like semi-professional. We like to
Hoarders.
look at our Magic. Hoarders, yes, that's another way. I was trying to be nice about it, but yeah, a lot of us are hoarders, and so we hoard our Magic. We at least like to look at it and it look nice because it's going to be messy. So it might as well look cool while it's being messy. That's how I
And
feel
some
about it.
stuff as well is handy to bring with you to gigs, like even the color color psychology by Adam Wilbur and Book by Magic. I just
Yes.
have that in the box in my
Yep.
case when I'm going to shows, and I just take them out and put
Love
them
it.
back.
Yep.
Makes
I love
everything
it.
so much easier. Like it's you don't need
Yeah.
foam packaging. Just put in all your boxes into
Oh,
your
it's
case
so
and you're good.
nice. It really is. And even with like some of the Murphy stuff, like the ones I was the color match that I was just talking about. I know a lot of people that carry their like markers in the color match container just because it's like it's dual purpose. And I mean, hey, might as well. If it works, it works. I mean, even like the Volpine Creations coffee cups and beans, like comes with a little carrying bag inside of it. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's nice to have that people are thinking about those things, which I really like. And I appreciate it as someone who collects it and also performs it some of the time. Like I enjoy it being, nice and pretty and all that good stuff. I like
The
it.
one thing I had to start carrying in the box, I used to have it on my keychain, was Lux. I used to carry Lux on my keychain all the time, but I dropped my keys a lot.
Oh,
Like a
did it mess up
lot.
Lux?
Uh, there was the button on the top just like stopped working, but I dropped it from like my head height
Oh no.
multiple times.
Oh
So I
no.
got a new one, and now that stays in the case. But it's like if you got any sort of like piece of electronics, you drop it from 6 foot, it's not going to like
Yeah,
survive.
no,
And
it's
I also
yeah.
have a deadlock, Michael Murray deadlock on my keys as well. so that's got quite heavy, chunky. So I'm
Yep.
like, I don't really like having that next to electronics either.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't carry a UV pen with me that much. So I'm like, I carry it with me when I have the
When you're
UV
gonna,
pen and stuff. But
yeah, no,
it's
that's smart. I didn't really think about that. I mean, I guess if you are gonna put stuff on your keychain, you are gonna drop your keys. You should probably. That's something I've never really thought about. I don't know, and I do drop my keys sometimes. But I mean, I guess like probably one thing that I carry on my keys is like Monkey by Jeff Price, and that's just like another
yeah,
key. So I guess there's like nothing to
that's
really
fine.
like
Yeah.
break, you know. But I don't really carry too many electronics on me or anything. So I get where if you're throwing electronics on the thing, you're dropping it. Yeah, probably should not carry those around on your keychain if you're going to be
You're too
reckless with it.
clumsy, like.
I know, and you know, you think as magicians we're supposed to be like good at being like sneaky or like sleight of hand, and I'm like knocking everything over. I trip over things. It does not matter what it is.
Yeah, it's
going
always
down.
the lazy man's load coming in from the car as well. It's like
Yeah,
12
yeah.
flag, and you're trying to get your keys, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, there's
yeah.
no,
I'm like,
damn it,
shit.
gone again.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I was always like, it broke not because it was like it's a fragile product. It broke because I was like, they don't
Throwing your
bounce.
keys around. Yeah.
That's something I'll
Yeah.
say in probably the same for any of like the mini Rubik's Cube things for your keys and stuff like
Yep.
that. They don't bounce, so something
Yep.
to keep in mind when you're going
Yeah,
through it.
and it's like plastic sometimes, and it's like if you drop plastic, it's gonna rough up the edges. And then all this stuff.
It survived longer than my phone survived, so that's a positive.
That's impressive. I honestly should probably not have as many magic apps on my phone because I drop my phone as much as I do. That's at least they're like backed up by the cloud. It's nice.
Yeah, that's the one thing with magic apps as well that I'm finding interesting is I'm contemplating like while I go for a new phone. And my wife's always trying to get me to go for iPhone. And like I like Android anyway, but also I'd have to buy all my apps again. Just like
Oh
I
my
don't
gosh,
want to
that would
spend that
suck.
expense
Yeah.
over again. So it's
See, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they actually, when their new upgrade came around for their phone plan, they upgraded to iPhone because some like magic apps, I feel like there's more exclusive magic apps to iPhone rather
yeah,
than Android.
there's none on
And
Android really.
yeah, and so they were like, okay, I'm just gonna upgrade to iPhone and then I'll just deal with it from there because I want the exclusive apps. So like I want the chance to get them if one comes out in the future. Even like I don't want to be ruled out of it. And I mean, I get it. I'm an iPhone person because I love my magic apps, but I mean at the same time it's like, hey, I get it. You don't want to buy them all again. That would probably be really expensive, especially when you're adding things up
Yeah.
like wiki test and $75 apps are not cheap when you have to purchase them like 2 or 3 times.
So I've got like
Would not
I'd
want
have to
to.
get a timeline,
I love
inject.
timelines.
There's the Doodle app by Greg Gustami.
Yeah,
One Joe the turnover
the
one. I have
force
that one.
one.
I have Picasso one. I've got DFB. I've got some that I've made myself. I've got AnyWeb. I've got too many. Incognito, Hydra. It's just
Yeah, there's so many.
I'm
I
like
mean,
that's a few hundred quid right there.
oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, but here's the thing. If you ever want to switch over, you better do it now because you're just going to keep buying more magic apps and then it's going to add up even more. And then you're going to have more of an argument. You're going to say, I just bought ISO. I just bought this. I just bought that. Now I have 100 more like dollars or quid. Sorry, I forget. I'm not over there right now. When I came to Blackpool, I kind of adjusted my language a little bit. I was saying quid, felt like a local.
And now you've
People
got
are
to
proud
go.
of me.
You've got to go euro now.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Should I say euro? Yeah.
Yeah, we Ireland went for the euro, so
Okay, well that's fair. Wow.
Yeah.
I need to go to Ireland. I've never been to Ireland. Love to go to
Yeah,
Ireland.
it's a lovely wet place.
Yeah, that's fair. I hear
Yeah, it's why my skin is translucent.
that.
It's like a different level.
All the rain. Yeah. And is it just as cold as like the UK because or I guess you are in the UK, so I guess it's like next to
No,
it. So
we're not in the UK.
You're not in the UK.
No. So
Because
Ireland is
left
2
of it.
countries. So there's Northern Ireland in the UK and Republic of Ireland's a separate.
There's 2
country.
Irelands?
Yeah. There's the Republic of Ireland, which is 26 counties, and there are 6 counties in Northern Ireland.
Wow.
And that's why that's where the whole like IRA and all that thing started happening, it was
Oh my
because of
gosh.
the border in the country. So
Wow. See, I had no idea. So
yeah.
part of Ireland's in the UK.
Yeah, part of the
Okay.
like island of Ireland is in the UK, but
Okay.
the majority of it, which is like the Republic of Ireland, which is the main thing, is a separate thing. So we're still in the
They
EU, which is great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah. So are they still like, do people get like finicky about that? Or people like, no, we're not a part of the UK. Like, how
Yeah,
dare you say that?
yeah. If you
Yeah.
said that in Ireland, you might get punched.
Real okay. No, I get it. I get it. People are like, really, hey, no, I get it. Nationality, I love it. I love
It's
it.
kind of the thing of because there was the fight for independence and stuff kind of came in, and there was a lot of that stuff. So it's similar to what the Americans did. You know, we
Yeah. Well, hey, we wouldn't want to be called, hey, we're not English. We just speak the language and we speak it
exactly.
better.
Yeah, and then the Irish English is quite different as well because we use a lot of Americanisms because of TV and movies, like every English
Okay.
speaking world.
Yeah.
But then grammatically, we use the Irish language grammar a lot of times as well. So we say stuff that like is grammatically incorrect, but is correct for us.
What's like an Irish, like something that's like, if I go to Ireland, like what should I expect? Like some Irish slang.
Some of the stuff that really gets people, like when I was living in America doing some work and stuff, and people ask like, "What was the weekend like?" And you're like, "Oh, I had great crack." That doesn't mean you were doing drugs. It's crack is an Irish word, CRAIC, which means fun.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
yeah, so
Yeah. So you
crack
say that
is
over here, people are like, oh,
yeah, like you don't
yeah,
talk
you
about
did
that
have
in
something.
public.
Jeez, great crack. Okay.
Yeah, and
That's
everybody
pretty
loves
good.
getting people to say "poke Mahone."
But so what's
That
that?
means kiss my ass. So anytime an American comes over, it's like if they ever ask, "Oh, how can I say like I love you in Irish?" It's like, "Oh, it's poke Mahone."
Oh, well, now I know you're not doing it to
Yeah,
me. Anytime I go over there,
you
I'm just gonna say it
keep it fine.
anyways. But yeah, it'll be fine. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that next time I go over there. I'm gonna say like I'm gonna start using some slang around different countries. People are gonna think I live there and I just have the accent from the States.
yeah. It's like the big slang in Ireland is like gaff means house.
Gaff.
Yeah,
Okay. Not
uh,
like card.
yeah. But then there's this. It's different as well because like Ireland has so many different regions. Like I can go 5 miles and the accent's completely different. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Geez.
It's
So
just
there's a
there's
lot
a
of
lot.
different like accents
Yeah,
throughout. Okay. And is the slang different when you get up to like the part that's still part of the UK or the
yeah.
part
Like
that's
they've got
not?
more. Their accent is real like strong. Like the Northern Irish accent's almost Scottish sounding to a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite thick. And then there's a Dublin accent and that sort of stuff. So
Wow.
it's a
Now I
weird.
want to go to
It's
Ireland.
too small a place to have this many accents and changes.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. Wow, now I want to go to Ireland.
Yeah,
I
we
just want
we have a
to.
history of not being the best sort of people to agree on things to the point that the Romans invaded everywhere else and they got to Ireland and were like they can't decide their own ruler, so we won't be able to put one in charge. So they just never conquered us. So we still have like the worst roads and stuff because the Romans
Oh
just
my gosh,
didn't
because
help.
nobody just. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my gosh, that's hilarious.
in Latin and stuff, Ireland is known as Hibernia, which is like the land of forever winter or something like that. So
Oh
it's like,
geez, so it's like cold and
yeah,
just like oh
you
geez.
you could tell that when the seasons change because the rain changes temperature. That's all you want.
The rain changes temperature.
Yeah,
And so, what part is Ed Sheeran from?
Ed Sheeran's from England.
He's from England.
Yeah,
I swear I thought he was Irish for a second.
that's just 'cause he's
No, he's
ginger.
not Irish. He's just a ginger. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. No, but he has a what he lives in where does he live? Does he live in Ireland?
no, he lives in England.
Oh, I'm awful. What part of England? Do you know?
No idea.
Now I'm curious. I've been sitting here thinking, see, I knew he wasn't Irish, but I thought he lived in Ireland.
No, we've got
Oh, okay.
our big one at the moment is like Niall Horan from the X One
Oh
Direction
yeah,
guy.
One Direction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all you
big Niall Horan fan. Yeah. No, I did know that. But now I feel like an ignorant American. I'm gonna look up where Ed Sheeran lives now.
That's
Where does Ed Sheeran live? Okay, here we go. Ed Sheeran lives in
24
Oh.
Lower Street.
He lives in Suffolk. Is that how you say it?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Wow. I know he doesn't have an Irish accent. I don't know why I thought he was Irish.
It's because
Or
he's
not, or
ginger.
thought he lived in Ireland. It definitely has. Now I sound awful. Now I'm stereotyping, and now I'm canceled. If you're listening and you're still here, Ed Sheeran, I know he is from, and I'm big. See, the worst part is I love Ed Sheeran, and now I'm sad that like I just asked if he lived in Ireland.
He's a big fan of the podcast as well, so he will be listening. Like, you know.
Oh gosh, well if he is, reach out to me. Just bought your new album. Can't wait to listen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Super excited.
This is sort of magical content people really tune in to get. You know, it's the
Oh yeah. If you're still here, you're here for the whole thing at this point. You would have tuned out way earlier.
Because that's the thing. While we're off on the tangent, it's like we can't really talk about stuff this close to WrestleMania without talking about WrestleMania, because you're also a big wrestling fan. We talked about the Elimination Chamber at Blackpool.
Yes, I love it. What did you think of Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn at the Chamber?
I thought it was a good match. It was kind of one of those things where there was no real way to end it happily.
Yeah.
That's
There's no
the kind
good
of
way to get out of that. Yeah.
No, without splitting the titles, and do you want to do that in like a B pay-per-view? It's like it's difficult.
Yeah.
But I like the way they're going for the tag now, because it kind of the story is now more like Jay and Sammy rather than
for sure
like the main one. So I think that'll be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what nights they do, because I think that could main event night one.
I think it could too. I really hope it does. I would love to see, like you said, if they kind of did book themselves into a corner where, like, when you're having Sammy face Roman, you're thinking like, well, obviously Roman's not going to lose because they're still building him up for Mania. But is Sammy going to lose when he's been on this hot streak and he just got like literally probably the loudest pop in years in wrestling, in WWE at least? Like what? It was just so complicated to get out of. I mean, I think they're probably doing it the best way they could by having them go after the tag titles. And I mean, I love Cody Rhodes.
Turned on Cody as well, which was always the worry, that the fans would turn on Cody being pushed instead of him. So that would be a thing. So they handled that so well.
Genuinely worried about Cody not getting the crowd reaction, because kind of like the Daniel Bryan situation back at like WrestleMania 30, where basically everyone was like, okay, it's either like Bryan or like we riot. And
Bautista, we don't need it.
Like we don't need another. Bautista. Oh gosh, I'm very excited for WrestleMania, though. I am, and I'm excited to see Cody like hopefully win and then get like an embrace by the fans. And I think that if you satisfy the fans the first night with Sammy and Kevin Owens winning, you can just be like, okay, we gave you what you want there, and we're going to give you what you want a second time, so you can just be like extra happy and be extra loud. And I think that might happen. I think they might break it up and do the 2 nights, that way they can kind of have one party happy and then also like make the second party happy as well.
Yeah, and then Roman will probably go away for a little bit.
I heard he might be away till SummerSlam.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because that's kind of what they've been doing with Brock, is like build him up for WrestleMania, have him lose, and then go. But like Roman Reigns' theme music is my ringtone, so
is it really?
It's a great ringtone, by the way.
It's a great song.
Yeah, the impact really hits. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a good weekend. Late nights for me, but it'll be worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what time will it be in Ireland when it comes on?
It's 8 hours. Like, we're 8 hours ahead of Hollywood, so late.
Wow, yeah.
Or early.
Yeah, I guess early, because I
might just wait and catch it on like a replay, watch like once I wake up early, just watch it then and uninstall Twitter or something until.
Yeah, that's always my fear. Like when I do that, is that I'm gonna get spoiled something. I think probably it'll be on at like 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. So that's what, like midnight your time?
Kickstarts at midnight, I think.
Yeah,
and that'll probably be the pre-show.
Yeah, geez. And then you got like a 4 to 6 hour pay-per-view, depending on how they want to book it. Like,
it'll be an interesting one anyway. But it's plans for the weekend sorted.
Yeah,
deck of cards in one hand, throw on
absolutely
a few
watching
beers.
It. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be a great time. And I think I'm actually curious what you think about this, because I haven't talked to a ton of wrestling fans about this. But what do you think about WrestleMania being 2 days, like 2 nights?
I go back and forth on it. I always liked it when it was one until it got to like a 6-hour show, and then I was like, this is crazy. And I think just because of the roster size, there's no real way around it because too many people miss out, or everything's a multi-man match and that sort of stuff, which isn't the thing. So I think it's kind of like the best of a bad situation type thing, because it kind of night one kind of feels like a pre-show, the whole thing, because it's not like the real Wrestlemania. That sort of way is like how I always see it.
No, I know what you mean, and it's kind of sad because I feel bad for the people that like get put on night one when it's like this is WrestleMania. It's just like part one of it, and like they're delivering like great matches, and I'm over here like sorry. I'm still very invested in the night one, but I feel like a lot of people might just be like, this does kind of feel like the pre-show of actual Mania.
It's the thing as well. It's like I always wanted. It's on like my bucket list is to go to a WrestleMania at some point. But now it's like it's more expensive because you've got to get tickets for 2 nights to make sure that you see everything. And
yeah,
stuff, so.
Exactly. Because that's the thing is you're going to go to night one and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to see blank. And then you're going to go to night two and you would be like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to see the first one. Like either way, so you just got to go to both. I have actually been to a few WrestleManias. Love it. It's absolutely like an experience that you have to experience as a wrestling fan. It's so much fun. I haven't been since they made it 2 nights, mainly because of kind of what you were saying. It's just like double the price. It's more expensive. And also as a fan, you're double the energy, you know, like that's a lot of energy. Yeah. Oh, shouted. Yeah. I learned that one too. While I was over there, someone came up to me and they're like, I had not slept in a while. And they're like, are you shouted? And I said, yeah, I'm clean. Took a shower this morning. And I kind of felt like they were saying I like smelled or something, and then they were like, no, you shouted. And then I quickly said, yes, I am. I did. And then I just sat there like, no, like, are you shouted? And I said, okay, what do you mean? Like what are you
get
saying?
There in the end.
Yeah, and they're like, shattered. And I was like, oh, shattered. Okay, yes. They're like, I was like, I'm guessing that means tired. They're like, yeah. I was like, oh, very, very shattered. Yeah, I was. In Blackpool, you just don't end up not being like that.
No, not at all. Especially last night, and being worried that you smell is always the main thing.
Like
every 10 minutes.
I don't want to be that stereotype. Yeah, I just stereotyped Ed Sheeran. I don't want to stereotype. I don't want to be the stereotype at like a Magic convention. You know, everybody put on their deodorant and take showers, okay, and then we'll all be good. Everything's fine. No worries.
Absolutely. Because it was something I actually talked about with Craig briefly when we had him on the podcast, I think last year, about the similarities in wrestling and in Magic, because I always see the similar things in like just the whole kayfabe-ness of the kayfabe that exists within a Magic trick. And I think it's like a term that we should start using in Magic, of like the kayfabe of a routine. That when you're, even in a show like that, just sometimes people talk about like, are you psychic, are you not? And it's like, I always do the thing of like, on stage, I could be claiming whatever, but then once I walk off stage, I'm not.
Yeah, you're like, out of character. You're like, no, I totally agree. And you are a character on stage, like a personality and like how you present your tricks and all that kind of thing. It's like there's so much crossover between wrestling and Magic. I mean, it's between the character development, the storylines of your tricks, how you actually interact with the audience. I mean, there's just so much so many things that go into it. And these terms like kayfabe and, you know, even like heel and face. Like, are you like a rude, not rude, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of like poke fun at the audience, you make fun of them, like you're there for like laughs and stuff like that. Or are you like the baby face that's like trying to make everyone like uplift everyone and be like, you did this, you're the magician, that and this, and you know, all that stuff. I think there's so much crossover with it, and I think a lot of people should start using more terms like kayfabe and stuff like that. Like, or like, did you shoot? Like, was that a shoot? Like, did you go off script and did you say something like random and like kind of things like that? I would love to have that in Magic.
Or like when you accidentally hit any card on any number without actually trying, like that's a shoot any card on any number.
Absolutely, it is. Shoot a con. And not like shoot Ogawa, like shoot any card, any number.
Shoot a can. New release. Check the specs.
That would be incredible. We'll work on it. We're currently working on it.
It's like works one every 52 times. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, and you got to perform it 52 times in order to test that out. So
Yeah.
bear with
You
us.
got to keep going. Because I even think, like, from a show structure point of view, they always talk about like the opener and the main event of a show, and then like the waves as you go through it, and it's
For
a
sure.
similar thing to any show. Like musicians do the same, but
Oh
I
yeah.
always think it's very obvious in magic how that kind of goes. Like,
Yeah.
you can see it, and then you can see it in wrestling of like something big, get people hyped, then you can take them on a journey of it, and then you
Oh yeah.
go again, and that sort of things.
Yeah, and you have like openers and closers. Like you have your opening song, you have your closing song, you have your opening match, you have your main event. Like all of this, putting together a concert, putting together a wrestling show, putting together like a card. That's another one,
Okay.
a wrestling card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just like putting all this stuff together is like pretty much the same. Like it all starts at the same place. It's all rooted in the same thing. You're bringing your audience on this journey of up and down and bringing them to a climax up at the top. That's what she said.
The best jokes are that's what she said. It's the
They're
pinnacle
so
of
good.
humor.
I know they really are, and like I have some friends that are like same type of humor, and we hit them, and then we'll hit those jokes, and then next thing you know, like your girlfriend's around, and you're just like spitting out that's what she said jokes, and then all of a sudden you're like with people out in public, and you probably shouldn't be saying that. Yeah, it's like it's a bad habit, but hey, it pays off sometimes.
It's how me and my wife bonded. So
Yeah, no, it's great.
great
It's a great,
bonding
and
when you can get it.
that's how like if your partner will be like, that's what she said to just like a random thing. You're like, I found my person.
Yeah,
Everything
exactly.
is good. Yeah, love it.
It works out well. Speaking of the abstract effects stuff as well, how did that all come around getting involved there?
Yeah. So if first off, if anyone doesn't know what Abstract Effects is, Abstract Effects is a magic brand. They're a magic producer, people that produce magic tricks. So basically, artists come to Abstract Effects with a magic trick idea. Sometimes it's fully like fleshed out. It's everybody. You don't really need to do much besides actually bring it to life. Put it into production, have somebody make all the gimmicks. Sometimes somebody comes to you and they're like, "This is my idea. This is how I think it would work." And here's like a basic prototype made out of cardboard. So, as a magic producer, our job is to basically kind of scout magic, try to figure out, what is like this idea, like is this idea actually feasible for us to produce, and then can we bring it to life, all that kinds of things. So we find magic tricks and then we mass produce them and sell them to like wholesalers. We sell them to magic shops and stuff like that, and then we bring like artist creations to like actual physical products as across the world in different magic shops, and it's super fun to do. I love what I get to do with Abstract Effects. I'm a very new member of the Abstract Effects team, just a couple months in, if even 2 months at this point. But how it came about was back in I would say probably the first year or two of my YouTube channel. I had posted a review of an abstract effects trick. I believe it was Titan by Nicholas Lawrence, and I commented under their like post on Instagram and said, "Hey, just reviewed this," because they had posted a picture of it, and I posted a picture, and I was like, "Hey, just reviewed this. Like, if anyone's reading this and wants to learn more info, basically check it out." Well, Abstract saw my comment that I left on their page, and they messaged me and they said, "Hey, love the review. Very detailed, very informative. Thanks for doing it." And I was like, "Of course, yeah, no problem." They're like, "Would you like to receive like the future releases that we put out and you review them like in return?" And as like a up and coming, even now, but like
Yeah.
especially as an up and coming like magic review channel, I was like, yes, please. So I quickly took them up on that offer, and I went ahead and started reviewing like magic for them. And then I even did like a little like sponsorship deal where they would send me basically they would send me a bunch of different tricks, not just abstract effects tricks. And in return, I would throw their logo on the video and say, "Thanks to Abstract Effects for allowing me to have this product. They don't sell it, but they provided this review copy." So that was something that I really enjoyed doing. Was they really helped me, and that's what I believe in is like if somebody helps you, help them out in return, like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like I believe it comes back to you. And I was being helped out by Abstract Effects. So I always wanted to like kind of pay my respects to them and just let them know that like, hey, I'm always appreciative for what you do. Like if you ever need anything, let me know, reach out. Love to work with you like in the future. So the sponsorship deal lasted for probably 6 months after. I mean, they still send at the time they were still sending me their own stuff, but the sponsorship deal with just like random products lasted for about 6 months. Then Abstract Effects kind of disappeared. So Abstract
Yeah.
Effects kind of went off grid. They started focusing on other things. Like the other brothers were still in it at the time, and they were doing a lot of consulting for like TV shows and other various projects. And when it came to Abstract Effects, people kind of forgot about it. And people were like, oh my gosh, where did Abstract Effects go? And I also didn't really know what happened to Abstract Effects because I would talk to the guys sometimes, but it's not like I'm sitting there like getting all the information. Hey, what did you do today? Where's Abstract Effects been? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this was probably about 4 months ago. Max with Abstract Effects basically messaged me, or I messaged them, one of the two, and I just said, "Hey, like, happy to see that you're back," because they released like a new trick, and he was like, "Oh, thanks, man, of course." And I told him I was going to be at Magi Fest, which is a magic convention in Columbus, Ohio, in the United States. And I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be here," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to be there too." So Max actually went to Magi Fest as Abstract Effects, and there I started to learn more about like what happened with Abstract Effects. And he was like, "Yes, like I basically bought the company, and now like the other brothers aren't really as much of a part of it. They still do a couple consulting things, but like I'm the guy that's like making the decisions now." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's awesome." And I love the other brothers, love Max. I loved their team. So like anytime I got to hang out with them, it was just a great time. And when Max told me that it was just him running it now, I was like, it's kind of a lot to run a magic company like by yourself. And so I started telling him basically if you want to rebuild Abstract Effects, because there is obviously some like disgruntled customers, like some people in the magic community that are like, wish you would have told us where you went. And there's multiple reasons that like that didn't really pan out the way that it should have with like, where did Abstract
Yeah.
Effects actually go? Because of like these things like change in ownership and like hiring new staff and stuff like that. So it was really like a huge change. And Max and I just basically shared. We sat down at dinner. He took me out to dinner at Magi Fest, and I said, "This is what I would do." I have like a background in marketing, and I said, "This is what I would do in order to rebuild Abstract Effects, or this is what I would do in order to like get Abstract Effects back to where they were before you like disappeared." And I basically told him like a bunch of different ideas as far as like being transparent in the trailers and like having better tutorial videos where you've got like performances and people like really detailing like the explanations for how these tricks work. And even when it comes down to like product quality, like, let's make sure that what people get is like something that's like well made and all that kind of, and they had already done like really well on some of that stuff in the past, but like they needed to bring it back and really do
Yeah.
it the best they've ever done it. And so I told Max all this, and then Max was like, "Well, would you like to come help?" And I was like, I mean, yeah, like, why not? And it's not my full-time job. I have a full-time job outside of magic. And so I was like, I don't mind like picking up a little work with Abstract Effects. And so basically me and Max sat down, had that conversation. And then over the next few weeks, over the next like month or two, it turned into, oh my gosh, it actually could be like a working relationship where I do consult on a bunch of different magic tricks that you're bringing out and help find new magic tricks and all that kinds of stuff. So now I work with Abstract Effects. I'd say I'm probably like a magic scout slash digital media producer. So I help with like the producing of the trailers and the tutorials and the teaching, and also some product development with like creative consulting and trying to, just add ideas to the tutorial or add ideas to the product in general. How do we actually make this like a better product, and how do we make it out of something better? Or even like Max has been a great deal of help, and he'll say something, and he's also very nice and very open to like work with. Like if you have an idea, share it with him, and if he likes it, he'll tell you, and if he doesn't, he'll be like, okay, well maybe we can think about it, but what if we did it this way instead? And it's just nice to be able to like work with someone that will actually like listen to all your ideas, like good or bad. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure like as a magician, like we have a ton of different ideas, and most of them are crap most of the time. And it's just nice to be able to bounce ideas off of someone and then actually like hear you and just say, yeah, actually that's really cool. Let's do something with it. Like the other day, we were talking about a product, and there was basically you could do even more cool things if you got 2 of them. And Max was like, oh, well, then let's just include 2 gimmicks. And I was like, oh, it's that easy. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. So, it's like things like that he's like really open to, and he just brings a whole different like set of skills because he was not in magic at first. His background was in business and then he came into magic, and mine was like in magic and then I got into business. And so it's been like really funny to just kind of see those like 2 things collide. And now that I have like a strong passion for business and it matches my passion for magic. If not, I mean, if actually sometimes my marketing and my business love even like outweighs my magic love some days, just because I love learning about like marketing and just like business strategies and stuff like that, which is why I believe it goes hand in hand, because the magic market is such a unique market. And I just think it's like when you're buying magic tricks, there's nothing like it. You're buying
Yeah.
secrets. Like, what other industry are you selling someone a secret and we're like, keep this secret for $20? Like, that is unheard of. Like this, it's so weird. If
Yeah.
you anytime you tell someone like a stranger, or try to tell someone what I do, oh well, what do you do? I'm like, oh, like I do magic and I work for, and they're like, oh, you like perform magic tricks? And I'm like, yes, but no. Like I do more than just perform magic tricks. And then when you explain like there's a whole retail market to like laymen or like someone that wants to learn about magic, they're like, what? There's
Yeah, it
a
blows the mind.
yeah, they're like, there's a so let me get this right. So you're buying like trick decks, and I'm like, well, sometimes, but sometimes you're buying like a regular deck, and then they're teaching you how to do the trick, and they're like, so you're buying someone. I'm like, yes, you're buying a secret. They're teaching you how to do it, and it's just like, it's so funny to explain to someone that isn't into magic and just try to get it through their mind that like, yes, people sell secrets and magic props, and it's not just rabbits and hats. That's what everyone thinks it is.
Oh yeah, you can imagine like a songwriter trying to like sell a song to someone, and they're like, "Not hip hop, not rock,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
metal, flower
yeah.
not mentioned." Go. You're like,
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and they're like also, and they start going into like beats per minute, and they're like, it's this and that, and it uses this never before heard technology in like music or audio interfaces, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this song. Yeah, like
and then you get it, and then you find out that it actually sampled this song from the 1980s that wasn't referenced and credited, and there was no
and
license
now
paid.
there's an argument, and now there's drama in the
Exactly.
songwriting world. Yeah,
And there's one
it's
really
it's
bad verse that was
insane.
cut out of the trailer.
Yeah,
That one bad verse that doesn't even rhyme is just like completely cut out of the trailer, and you're like, "What?"
yeah.
Like, it's not.
Yeah, and yeah. Oh my gosh, I have never heard someone compare it like that, and the fact that you just did that and it actually makes so much sense is kind of unreal and a little scary.
It'd be a funny sketch to just
Oh my
shoot at
gosh.
people.
Actually, I might have to make a magic sketch out of that because that is incredible. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta write that down. Siri, set a reminder.
Yeah, 'cause you really,
Oh my gosh.
it is such a weird industry. Like even I've sometimes you'll be at a wedding or something, and they're like, "Oh, they're like nephew's really into magic or something." And I usually like tell them to go to like you'll get the 10 free tricks off Penguin or something like that
Yeah.
as a good starting point. And they're like, "What do you mean there's a site that sells
Yeah, like what
magic?" And you're
a
like,
site?
"There's
Like it's not like a shop and like they have like a book or something, or they have like a trick deck that does the trick for you. Like no, no,
yeah,
there's like magic websites online, and when you try to tell someone that a magic store exists online, and that there's more online than there are like then they don't just sell like and they're oh pranks and gags. No, like
yeah,
actual tricks like that you're seeing performed if you go see a magic show. Like there's a good chance that at least one of the tricks you see in that could be bought online, which is
absolutely."
insane.
It's a weird thing because even when I was like a teenager growing up, my parents used to buy me tricks for Christmas and stuff like that. And anytime they bought something off Illusionist, their credit card would immediately get automatically blocked because the bank would be like, "What is this website?"
Yeah,
And they'd be
what
like,
is
"What
that?
is this Penguin Magic or
Yeah,
Illusionist?" And they're like,
yeah, it's
"What is
like
this?"
yeah, so Vanishing Ink, Theory
Yeah,
11, what are these sites? And you're buying like a thumb tip, and then customs is like, why do you have a plastic thumb in your package? Like no one or like even this, like this is like Jason Knowles's like butthole. Like trying to explain to someone that I bought a beer bottle for like $100 People are like, why'd you pay $100 for that beer bottle? I'm like, okay, well, hear me out before you judge me for spending $100 on this thing. Like, and then you start going into like, oh, this is like a handcrafted like piece of like art when you think about it. And people are
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And like no one knows what to say. Like no one knows.
My bags got searched coming back from Blackpool, and it was full of everything I bought at Blackpool at going through security.
Oh
And
no.
before I opened it, I was like, "There's a lot of weird stuff in my bag." I'm going back from a magic convention, and it turned out there was like, it was like I was given something for free because I bought something expensive, like a dice shop cup thing, and they had poker chips that came with it. And whatever way they went through the scanner, your man was saying it looks like live ammunition. I was like, it's poker chips though.
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Yeah, you don't
because
want
they
to
were
get
being
caught
very
with that.
serious about it, and then they were going through all these things, and it was like a deck of cards and another deck of cards, and like these all clumped together don't show up great in an
Yeah.
X-ray machine.
Yep. Oh no, you're totally right. I think any magician that goes through an airport, like 90% chance they're getting stopped. Like
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen.
we went to the lads convention when World Magic Shop were doing that, me and Steve, and he bought loads of liquid forks that were there, and they were like, "Oh, you have a cutlery set in your bag. You can't bring that on plane." And they're like, he was like, "It's just forks," and they're like, "You don't have any knives?" He's like, "No, it's just like
Oh my
100
gosh.
forks."
He got to keep them?
Yeah, he got to keep them, and
Oh,
then
thank
he
goodness.
also bought a small crystal ball that like freaked the machine out because they said it came up like a void in the middle of the bag. And then they were all like rubbing the crystal ball, making wishes and stuff at security as our plane was final boarding. Like, really
All right,
like
come on,
that.
wrap it up.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
give me
gosh,
stuff
that's
back.
awesome. I wonder if you just showed them a magic trick, if they would believe you and be like, oh, okay, this dude's just weird. He's a weird magician. Like, that's all it is. That's literally it.
Yeah, I have done magic a few times with things when like they might search. If I'm going on holiday or something, I might bring like 4X cards, like
Yeah.
in the front pocket of my backpack,
Yeah.
and it usually shows up something because it's just so compact. And then they're just like, "Oh, show me something," especially if the airport's a bit quiet. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I always do like if anytime I always just go, "Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, thanks, bye."
Okay. And my go-to is like and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really on there.
And they're like, "Oh, he's one of those magicians."
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay, you do magic. And I'm like, yeah. I actually, I don't know if I can pull it out. That's what she said. But next to me is, let me see if I can grab it. So this is Joshua Jay's like Talk About Tricks set, and
Wow.
this is a 2-book series, right? And you can see
Yeah.
that's pretty thick, right? I mean, I'll compare it to like a
Yeah,
human
it's
head,
big.
you know, pretty thick book, pretty heavy too. I mean, it's like a large textbook that you would get in uni. Y'all say that over there, right? Is that good? And so I actually took this to Magi Fest this year, and I got Joshua Jay to sign it. Well, I flew to Magi Fest, and I had to put this, and there's a second one like this, and I put it in my carry-on, and it got pulled at security. And there's like decks of cards. There's 2 large textbooks that just have like talk about tricks on them. And I just like looked at the girl, and I was like, "I'm a magician," and she just was like, "Okay." And then she like shut the suitcase after she like looked at it, and I was like, she felt like she acted like when I said I'm a magician, she was like, "Oh, okay, so you're just weird." That's literally what it
Yeah,
felt like.
100%.
Yeah, so I carried, and then when I got to the convention, I put these in my book bag so that way I could get them signed at the convention. And I'm carrying around this on my back all day. It was awful. I would like never do it again.
That's some military
But
training right there.
right, it really was. And then while I was there, I picked up this one, which is Andy Gladwin's book, and I just got him to sign it there. I was like, "I'm buying this here, and you're just going to sign it here, and I'm not going to worry about it." And so that was how that went. But yeah, it's so funny, like the things that we go through as magicians. Like we have these weird experiences that
I had a thing the other day. I was trying to pay with my phone, and it wasn't working because my mom had called me at the same time. So whatever way, because the phone was ringing, I couldn't pay tap. And I have overdraft for 1914 here. And the guy was like, "Oh, it's probably because you've got the credit cards there." And I just went, "Oh, they're fake." And then I just slapped it. And it was only when I left the shop I realized how weird that must have been for him. That like I'm a con man just walking around with fake credit cards in
Yeah, he
my
probably
phone.
thinks that like you were trying to scam someone, or like you are
Yeah.
in like crazy credit card debt that you had to get fake credit cards.
Yeah.
Or that
I just said it so casually. They're fake.
Yeah,
Just
there's
like,
no need to worry about
think,
it. That's definitely not real. Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's so good. I There's so many instances like that where like as magicians, we just have these weird things, and like that's one of them. I'm carrying around fake credit cards. I'm carrying around fake shoelaces. Like what?
I
Who
had this
am
in my
I?
pocket, a squeaker, and I forgot it was there, and I kept bumping off stuff and squeaking. It's just like, oh yeah, that's there.
Oh, I actually kind of want to do that for fun now. Just take
Yeah,
a squeaker with me and just basically monitor how often I bump into things.
yeah. Put one
Oh,
in
that'd
each
be
pocket, and
awesome.
then you can just keep
Yeah,
going
you just
through it.
know. Oh, that'd be I might do it at Blackpool, so when like everyone's like rushing past you trying to get to a lecture, every time they bump into you, it's like, and that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
sell it as like an anti-pickpocketing device. Just put it
Yeah.
inside your
Oh, that
wallet.
would be sick. Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. We can rebrand that and sell it for like $10. That's what magicians do.
Yeah, 100%. We'll
Yeah.
add something into it. So
Total.
we have something on the show called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where we ask them to tell a story of a performance that maybe started off well and slowly went downhill from there. Do you have any stories? Because I know, like, as magicians, we've only ever messed up maybe once in our lives
Yeah.
at
If
doing a trick.
that,
If yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
If that. Yeah. As magicians, as perfect as we are, it's tough
yeah,
to. I'm trying to remember one of these stories because
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
so
no,
tough.
it's back when you
Um,
were first learning.
Yeah. Back when I was first learning, and definitely the story I'm about to tell you did not happen last year. Um, so I was, oh God, this is so bad. This goes great with the title: The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Okay, so basically that has three parts to it, so it's going to fit really well. So I decided, I was at dinner with some friends. I didn't have anything on me but my phone and my wallet. And at the time, I was carrying a very slim wallet, so I really only had like credit cards in it, and I just had my phone. So I'm walking around, don't even have a deck of cards, and I'm like, I have no idea what to do. I don't want to do like a mentalism, like star sign divination, just because like that's not really me. I'd
Yeah.
rather do like something maybe like maybe I'll find an app I can use. So I pull out my phone, and I was like, okay, I could either do wiki test, maybe I could do like cognito. I could do like card to phone and maybe use like an imaginary like coin or card, or like maybe like equivocate, like somebody like force a card and then that card ends up inside my phone. I was like, I'll figure out some way to go about this. So I decided that I was actually going to do all three of those things, and I was just gonna try to build up and do like one after another and just keep hitting like boom, boom, boom. And then it's just gonna be like three tricks, one after another. Didn't even have anything on me. And these people are gonna think like, oh my gosh, he just did like these magic tricks and he didn't have anything on him. So I started out with Cognito, and for some reason, I was doing, not to get into method too much, but I was going through the photos and I messed up. I did like the
Mm.
wrong thing. And whatever they were thinking of was not what was the reveal image. So then I was like, okay, it's fine. I was trying to recover like quickly because like I don't know what to do. Like I literally don't have anything on me but my phone. I was like, I'm gonna go into wiki test. I'm gonna like use this, like whatever they're thinking of. I'm gonna say, okay, now think of that object and associate another word with it. Now look up that word on Wikipedia. So I then I then have them go to Wikipedia, or Wikipedia,
Yeah.
and they look up this word and they start thinking of a word. It turns out that they actually ended up on like real Wikipedia, like genuinely real Wikipedia. And I was like, think of a large word, probably like, 7, 8 letters. Think of a long word on the page. They did that. It was not one of like the words I needed them to think of because it's actual Wikipedia. And I quickly realized that when I start like, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like there's an E. No. Okay, cool. So well, if there's not an E, that means there's an O. No. Okay. Okay, cool. And then I just was like, okay, it's not one of those words. And so that failed miserably. And so then I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna go into something else. I actually did. They did nail the word that they searched. I did nail that because I was able to
Yeah.
peek that. So I was very excited about that. But then I failed miserably when they ended up thinking of the word on the page. So it just went back downhill. Then I move on to something else. I was like, okay, card to foam. So I get like a folded card and or a folded card. And I was like, I like have them think of a card and then I throw it into my phone and like card to phone is not working. So I can't like get the card into the phone. And this is all like in a span of like 10, 15 minutes at the dinner table. Like I have no idea why everything decided to go wrong on me that night.
Sweat is coming down.
Yeah, oh, it was awful. It was terrible. And then if I would have had a deck of cards on me or something, I would have been able to like recover easily and just like go into like whatever I wanted to. But that was an instance where I tried to do 3 technology tricks and somehow I literally don't even know how, but they all 3 messed up on me. And I looked like an idiot. And then my friends who like seen me do magic before are having to like defend how good they think I am at magic to this person that's never seen me perform before. Oh no, like he does like really good magic, and then I come out here and do this. Like, okay, it was bad. Now, the good thing about magic, this is like the lesson that anyone can take from it, is that nobody knows what's coming next. They don't know the ending. They don't know like what's going to happen. So, in all honesty, was it as bad as I'm making it sound? To me, yes, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But like to just a random layperson, like the tricks went like they were supposed to. The word that they like Wikipedia searched, like I got it, and that was the trick, and you know, like that. But ultimately, I think we're probably a little bit too hard on ourselves, like as magicians, because we know how it was supposed to go. I think that if anyone takes anything from that story, it's just like, hey, it's okay. You can reroute anytime in your performance because nobody knows what's coming next, and you can honestly just make stuff up on the fly. Like it's
Yeah.
really whatever you want to do because you're in control as long as you have confidence, as long as you look like you have the situation under control and you're just like, yes, let's go with this. Boom. And then you move into like another trick or something, like nobody's gonna know. And even if you messed up like the toxic force, and then you use that number, the genuine number that they've like created
Yeah.
in a different trick, and you like deal down to that, and you've like forced a card on them, you've recovered, and to you, you're like, wow, other trick was so cool, like I wish it would have ended up like this. But to them, they're like, I just saw a really cool trick where I had a random number dealt down to that number in a deck of cards, and he told me what card I was at. Like that's crazy
Oh,
to them
so many.
too.
Yeah,
You
there's so
know?
much you can do. I had a similar experience like that, but it wasn't with. It was kind of like the wiki test thing where that didn't work, but it was the last gig I had. 3 hours beforehand, I burnt my hand, like bad.
Oh
Like it's
no.
still not looking great, but it's getting better.
Oh no, yeah, and
So
that's like right where you would like hold a deck of cards,
yeah,
like right
the
in the meat.
burn was just above the edge of the cards, but I'd walk around holding a glass of ice water in my hand, and then I do like a 5 minute set, and then I'd hold a glass of ice
Oh my
water again.
gosh, that's awful. And
So
you
I
got the
wasn't really,
condensation from the water.
yeah, I wasn't like in it, so I couldn't do a lot of card stuff. But I have a trivia by Craig Petty. I'd gotten it at Blackpool, used it a few times. I was like, great, I'll do that. But just as they booked me to perform, the DJ started in this small room, so nobody could hear what I was saying. So I was trying to give the person instructions. Went up to this group, and I had an idea that she hadn't done the counting and stuff right for trivia to work. So
Oh
I was
no.
like, she's holding one, and I'm like pretty much blind in one eye. So I was like, I can't
Yeah.
read anything from here anyway. So she was holding
And the
one,
worst part
and
is it's not that hard to mess up or it's not that hard to get to the number. So like the
yeah,
fact that she messed it up is like,
oh,
oh no.
she wasn't paying attention. The same one messed something up later as well. So I was like, okay, she's holding at something. I was like, I just threw out the name of the movie that it should be if the method, if she'd done the method right. But it's like I obviously didn't give the instructions clear enough with the loud music and that sort of stuff. So like I should have done better because you can't blame the spectator. But
Yeah.
she did it wrong, and then she did something else wrong later. So maybe I can blame her. But so I just went into a
I
one
would
ahead.
yeah,
I just went into one ahead for something else and someone else, and then just did a one ahead, got out of it. So
exactly.
that was
See,
fine.
and they had no idea and
No,
they went back and watched that and they're like, oh my gosh, he predicted this and it was completely random and like that. Like, you know.
because I asked the person, the same one earlier on in that night or in the set, because I'd moved into this because the first thing had gone. I don't understand how this happened, but I asked her to draw a picture for me because I was going to do a drawing duplication. She drew a picture of me because that's what she thought I said because the DJ was playing music so loud. And then your man was like, she finished the drawing, and you're going, why did you ask her to draw a picture of you? So now I can't even do a reveal because he said that she's drawn the picture, and she thinks I asked her to do it anyway, so a reveal wouldn't have worked.
Oh my gosh.
So I put that in my wallet and was just like racking my brain, and then moved into trivia, and then that happened. So I was like, okay, one ahead, gotten out of it.
Back to back to back.
And then your mom was like, and why did you get her to do that drawing? And I was like, oh yeah, the drawing, check it out. And I was like, you drew a picture of me, but I want you to give it a different name. So write the name on the bottom, gave it back to her, got her to write the name back into the wallet, got my peak, revealed the name, and left that group as fast. I got as far away from the DJ as possible.
Smart. I would have done the same thing. But at the same time, it's like, hey, they probably walked away. They're like, no way he just named that completely random name that I said. Like,
name reveal is sick. Like,
yeah,
it's a strong name.
I loved it. That's a great way to get out of it too. That's very clever. Yeah. Name this person a different name.
Yeah, just you drew me perfect. Now give me a different name, thanks. You're just like, yeah, that'll work.
I think it's always nice to have like a backup plan when you go to like gigs too. Not necessarily just like in that sense of like have an out, like if something does go wrong, but if you bring like maybe an extra prop or two on you that you weren't going to carry, like let's say you didn't have a peak wallet on you or any way to get a peak, like you didn't know how to get a peak except with your wallet. It's like, well, if you had your wallet on you, even if you weren't planning on using it in an emergency situation, you can almost get out of anything by using a peak. So it's like, carry a wallet on you next time you can peak something. Or maybe you need to like carry an extra Sharpie because someone lost your Sharpie, like things like that.
I didn't bring a peak wallet on stage once doing a mentalism set, and never again, because they something went wrong in this thing, and the only way out of it was a peak wallet, and I didn't have one, and I was just like, So I found other ways around it, but it just wasn't clean. But I was like, from now on, I'm like, because I literally just I was like filling up my pockets, and I was like, oh, I don't need my wallet because I'm going on stage. Just give it to my wife, and I could see her in the back, just being like, my wallet. I need my wallet.
Oh no!
Just give it back to me. It is awful when that sort of stuff happens, but it's all about learning from it as you go and that sort of thing, because
for sure
you have to mess up a few times to figure out ways around it.
Yeah, exactly. And just like messing up is going to prepare you more for next time, because you're either going to like rehearse more, or you're going to think of different outs, or you're actually just going to like bring more props with you and just have like something else to go into at the end of it. And a peak wallet is such a strong one to do, like, or even like digital force bag, and you always have your phone on you, and you can like connect this random word they're thinking of to another word that you forced on them, and then you know, things like that. Like
I did something stupid with digital force bag recently. I was doing a 3 hour, it was about 3 hours into a close-up gig, just near the end. I think it was the last group I was performing for, and I got them to name the number. I think it was like 86. I was like, 86, cool. So 86. Perfect. Nobody noticed that, I think. But I was just like, I always do that in my head. But I said it out loud that time, and I was just like, oh, wow. That was a stupid thing to say out loud. Luckily, they weren't like...
I know, by paying attention.
They just think I'm repeating it weirdly.
Yeah, you're like, 86, correct? Okay, cool. And they're like, oh, yeah, 86, let's go.
Yeah, so it's a thing. My go-to thing, if I'm always caught in the spot with nothing on me, is just 5 object equivocate. I just get someone, because one thing I do with it is you get 5 objects, and then I say, to figure out decisions you're going to make, I need to learn more about you. Can I see your palm? And then I just give a generic palm reading that I learned on palm reading for magicians, I think was the set. And then I do the equivocate. And I used to just pick a random object, or whichever one I thought was most interesting, wrote that down, did the equivocate. And then after one time, someone said, why did you think I'd go for that object? What about my palm reading made you think I'd go for that? And at the time, I'd luckily said she was an extrovert and predicted the item that was furthest away from her. And that was just a coincidence. But I was able to say, because you're an extrovert, I knew the item that would be left or you give to me would be the item furthest away.
Yeah.
And it made sense. So now, from now on, whenever I perform it, if I say they're an introvert, I predict the item closest to them. If I say they're an extrovert, it's the item furthest away from them. If I say they're somewhere in the middle, I go for the middle item. So then afterwards, if they were to ask the question, what was it? I have a logical path
and you have a way to get out of it.
So I was like, I'm just so
it really
lucky.
does seem logical. Yeah, oh, absolutely. And they think like, and honestly, it kind of makes the trick better because you've like reinforced like what you did. There was a reasoning behind it, and it wasn't a lucky guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's all
Like
about
it's so
that
good.
sort of stuff, just backing yourself. But it is just the hours out there doing stuff, and I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
something that goes back to like the abstract effects and coming up with tricks and stuff. Because it's always great having someone come up with an idea and you can like jam it out together. But you can
Oh,
always tell when
absolutely.
something has been gone through the trenches, been done, has been messed up multiple times, and ways
Yeah.
around it and that sort of stuff.
Yep. And they've like
And
talked about it on the tutorial. This is how you get out of that, or this is like my tip for this.
yeah, because I even have some
Sure.
stuff that like I was showing some people at Blackpool and they'd like make a suggestion like, oh, if you did it that way, and it's like I used to do it that way, and this is why it doesn't work because if I
Yeah.
do it that way, that happens, and if I do it this, that happens, and it's like
Yeah, for
then
sure.
people like know, oh, he's actually doing this. It's not just an idea that you've come up with. This something you've actually tried on people because you
Yeah.
never know if it's good until you try it on a layperson
Yeah.
all the time.
No idea. And you never know also like what's actually going to hit with lay people because stuff that's good for magicians or something that you think is like really cool might not necessarily hit with lay people and then you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that again even though I freaking love that trick like
Yeah,
it's just not for them. But yeah, I totally understand. I mean,
I think it's
it's
the
just one of
opposite
those
as
things comes
well.
with time.
I've tricks that I don't like that I do for lay people, but
Yeah.
tricks that never fooled me, like the
Yeah.
rubber dove vanish.
Yeah.
I've never was fooled by the rubber dove vanish. I remember showing it to a friend of mine, being like, "This is trick people do. It's so stupid. Look," and she lost it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, this is a
Okay,
good
yeah, we'll keep
trick."
going. Yeah, no, like for me, one of them is ambitious card. Like as much as I like ambitious card, but I just don't perform it like with the basic like just double F, put something, put card in the deck, make it jump to the top. Like a basic ambitious card. I think I'm actually currently working on something to like level up my personal ambitious card because I don't want to do like a basic one. And then if I can work out this idea that I have right now, I think I'll start doing ambitious card more. But like it's just one of those things where people love ambitious card, and like
Yeah,
as magicians, we're like everybody does the ambitious card, and you're like, okay, well maybe they haven't seen it, and they're gonna love it if they haven't
most
seen it.
people haven't seen a magician before, so it's like
Yeah,
you're giving it to them, and I always find it's something, especially for people who are still listening this far in. Um, Something that I used to do, and it's something I still do in my ambitious card, and it came from something that I was messing up over and over again. So I was doing the bit, Joe, where you riffle and then drop one and catch it. So you can drop it off later on, whatever way you're doing it. You can load the extra cards
yeah,
doing this, that thing.
okay,
Um, I was always riffling up the back, going to get my break, and I dropped the break, especially when I was in performance. When I was younger and I would be performing it, I get nervous and I drop my break constantly because I'd be trying to do it really fast. Because I'm like, oh, this is the sneaky move, I've got to do it fast.
yeah,
So I switch up my ambitious to just be. I usually just get them to say stop, pretend I'm doing a riffle force, even though I'm not, and then just do a double lift, get them to sign the card. Then I go, what I'm going to do is take your card, put it in the middle, and then I'll snap my fingers and it's back on the top. And that's just my first phase of ambitious. And then I look at them and go, was that too fast? I'll do it again. I'll do it in slow motion. I'll go as slowly as I
yeah.
can. And now I'm literally doing the move that I struggle with in slow
In slow
motion.
motion, but they're like,
And
yeah,
nobody knows what's going on. And then I just sit here like this for ages and just like barely move the card until someone laughs. And then I go, is that too slow? And I'm like, I
yeah,
need to
and
find
then
the
you
medium
justified it.
or yeah, I justified it, but like I made a joke out of something that was slipping me up. Now I can do it all the time without dropping it. But
Yep.
that gag gets such a reaction of the slow motion, then I might throw in like, oh, I'm getting paid by the hour, so I'm gonna do. So you
Yeah,
have all the things you can throw in there, but
yeah, for sure.
it's like painting it red, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to hide it, paint it red, and then nobody's gonna pay attention to it anymore.
Yeah, and if people have like if your character allows you to work in like a little bit of humor, a little bit of jokes in there, you can get away with so much by covering something up with like a gag or joke or a little bit of comedy. Like you can
Yeah,
absolutely get away with anything.
because even with peaks and stuff, I've mentioned it before, but I was at a gig. It was a medical students graduation ball thing, and I was performing for a group of women just after graduating, newly graduated doctors, and I asked them to do a drawing, and they drew an ejaculating penis on the card. So I was like, they gave me the card and just put it in my hand like this. And then they were laughing so much. I was like, it's a penis. Like, I know it's a penis, but it would be great. I'll double check. But then they were all looking at each other being, can't believe you did that. So I just went, and that was my peak. And nobody saw me do it. Like,
Oh, it's
if you
incredible.
can it's just look for the moment, and then it's like the peak wallet never comes out, and you just give it back to them, and like, actually, I don't want to touch it, and you go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so good. The things you can get away with as a magician because people don't know what's supposed to happen. It's like so you got to use that to your advantage.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Is like, it's even for people. If anybody's struggling with a move, even just getting a double lift, just say you're going to do it in slow motion, and then
Yeah.
just do it in slow motion, and then you can get it, and eventually
Is
be able to
this too
speed it up.
slow?
And you might, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, is this too slow? And some people are like, no, and I'm like, okay, I'll just stay there. I'll just
Perfect.
keep going slow. I will get there eventually, but yeah, it's always that thing. I'm just trying to find ways around your limitations.
100%. Yeah, I think that's such a useful thing to take away as like ways to get around your limitations and using them as basically your strengths and ways to like use them again. And like, oh my gosh, I made this mistake, but it resulted in like, me actually getting away with blank. And then you're like, I'm gonna start doing this in every performance.
Yeah, and for the people who complain about magic hoarding, when I burnt my hand and had to do a gig, I was glad that I had boxes of stuff to go through to be like, what doesn't do? Lux, I do Lux in every gig anyway, but Lux was a lifesaver. I used it more. So I usually might use it just for reveal. But I started doing like the double cross version like constantly because I don't need to do anything with my hand.
That
Nothing
would be
needs to touch my
awesome.
hand. I can just
Yeah.
keep doing double cross with Lux constantly. And I was just like, this is great. I don't need to do
Yeah,
anything
that's
else. And then I was like, go
100%.
through other things, but like, this doesn't revolve. I don't need to use my hand for this either. This is great. And it's like, you
Yeah,
need the
no,
deep
like why not?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
always go
That
into it.
that is a benefit of being a magic hoarder because I've actually gone through a certain like similar situation. Not that I burnt my hand, but someone asked me to do a show, uh, like days before the show was going to happen,
Yeah.
and I had already done a show for them. I think this is going to be my third one because it was like an annual thing that I had done, and I was like, I don't know what to do because I've already gone through the main material that I use. So I pulled out a big box of stuff. I just start going through it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had this. Oh my gosh, I should actually use this because they've never seen it before. And then I pull all this stuff out. And because I had this excess supply of magic,
Yeah.
I was able to put together a really good show that people actually really enjoy. And they're like, will you come back again next year? And now I'm like, back to the box, like taking out more stuff.
Back to Penguin Magic. Scroll
Back to
by.
Penguin
Scroll
Magic. Back to
by.
spending way too much money. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I can come back next year, but I need to double my fee because I need to come back
Yes,
to the
because
place.
I gotta make a little bit more because I need to spend a little bit more. It's a whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we've gone for nearly an hour and 20 minutes now. So I'm gonna thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And for people, I'm gonna put the link to your YouTube and stuff down below. But if you have anything else you want to plug for people,
Thank you.
now's your chance.
If you want to go subscribe to my YouTube channel, like David said, it's in the description down below. I post magic reviews, magic content for magicians, like opinion pieces. I talk about magic news, top tens, bunch of different random things. I'm even thinking about doing some tutorials, which I've never done before, and I did not think I'd be doing. But a lot of people are like, "Would you ever consider teaching a magic trick?" And I'm like, I mean, I do it for abstract effects, so why not do it on here? So I'm even considering doing some tutorials. If you want to go learn some cool magic, basically check out the channel because there's a ton of variety of content for magicians. And if you have your own idea for a magic trick and you want to bring it to life, you want to make a physical product and you want to see it on the shelves of magic shops across the world, then head on over to abstracteffects.com and submit us a request over there for a trick that you have, or like an idea of the method and an idea of the trick, and like a performance if you have it. Or you can send an email to magic, MAGIC, at abstracteffects.com, and we will get back to you usually within a week.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. That's very good. So thanks so much for people coming on, and thanks everyone for listening. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You must also be in not only the magic and wrestling niche, but yeah, that's great.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on here. I really do appreciate it. It means the world. I'm glad I got to come on here and talk magic for a little bit. And if anybody is still listening, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're still here, and I hope that you were able to take something away from this.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. We'll talk to everyone again next time. See you later. Bye.